Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Jenaya Devan, your Channel Sales Manager. I'm happy to present with you our roadmap review for 2018 for Scribe Online. And we'll go ahead and get started. So just a quick little housekeeping reminder. Today, the audio is only available through your computer. There is no dial-in number with this solution. You can adjust the sound. I encourage you all to participate in any questions and answers by submitting your questions and answers in the Q&A window. And at the end, you can download a copy of the slide deck by clicking the green icon in your resource list. Any questions that you do send in will be addressed at the end of the presentation. And I'm sure Todd will reinforce this, but we encourage as much feedback as possible because, again, this roadmap we're really excited about, but we want to hear your feedback as well. It's really important to how we build our product. So our VIP guest speaker today is Todd Bailey. He is the Scribe Online guru who created our entire roadmap. It was 68 pages of features and benefits and updates and connectors and all that good stuff. And so we boiled that down for today's session so that we could actually get it into the full hour long commitment. But he is going to be reviewing our wonderful roadmap presentation. I'm really excited about it. I know you will be as well. There's great features for everyone for Scribe Online users. So just to go over our agenda really quickly, just a quick overview from me about our partnership. Then we'll head right into the Scribe Online product roadmap review. And of course, please get those questions and answers right out to us as we're going through some of these features. We're going to leave ample amount of time to go through some of these questions for you. So I encourage you, let's make it a dialogue and send in anything that you have a question on, okay? So just a little bit about our partnership overview. I wanted to, I know that you realize that you may not get some personal information from Scribe regarding our product, developments, initiatives. So I really wanted to just take a quick second to promise nothing but full transparency to each and every one of you. This year I have a more focused group of partners, which is why I want to make sure that everything I do and that everything Scribe does is 110% transparent to you. It's important to me that we work together through some questions and concerns that you may have to find resolutions and to get your needs resolved quickly. So my list of 30 partners is a combination of new Scribe partners that I recruited last year, as well as my top producing partners from 2017. So out of about 2,000 global partners, I'm going to be laser focused on you, your success with Scribe, and your enablement of our product. So you're able to download this presentation at the end, so you don't have to write down any of my contact information. But if you need it, please write it down. Please don't hesitate to reach out at any time with questions, escalations, whatever you need. I'm going to be here to support you, okay? So I'm going to host this roadmap presentation twice a year because we have a very packed in roadmap and we couldn't do the full year on this call. We're going to do this biannually. And so this will be the first of one. That's going to be the first of two. And so we wanted to make it so that you can actually unchew and palate and understand everything that we're going through in the first half of the year with our deliverables. So with that being said, I am going to make sure that I send out quarterly updates on our progress so that you can be aware of how we're matching up to setting up our goals and productivity. Okay. Just so you guys know, our partner call is on March 15th. That's at 2 p.m. I believe our initial invite was just sent out a couple days ago, or this week. And so it's going to be really exciting. For the first time in Scribe history, we'll have a partner present some of the tools that they've built specifically around Scribe Online that helps them with Scribe Online. So it's really going to be awesome. It's going to be different than all of our other partner calls. So I encourage you to register if you haven't already. I'm going to send out an email next week, and that will have the registration link in case you've unsubscribed from our corporate notifications. So one of the big questions I keep getting about our product is insight. Is it going out of life? I literally get this question at least 2 times a week from multiple partners, and I wanted to make sure that I'm telling you the most accurate information. I have not heard that we are end-of-lifing Scribe Insight. As most of you know, Scribe Insight is a workhorse. It's over 20 years old. We are not adding any new features to it or throwing development resources into it, but we will be maintaining it for as long as we have Scribe Insight customers, okay? Which is all the time people are buying Insight, so it's not going away anywhere. All of our dedicated development resources are working strictly on Scribe Online. And so just a quick note on that. Insight has DTS. Scribe Online is built on compiled code, which compiles a DLL. That runs, and in the long run, Scribe Online is going to have faster processing capabilities. It's also built on newer technology. So we're really working to enhance this technology for you, our partners. Okay? Support escalations. I am happy to escalate any support issues that you have. However, in order for me to help you, you do have to provide me with a case number, the product type that you are looking to talk about, whether it's Scribe Online or Scribe Insight. And if it's Insight, please provide me with that license key. And if it's Scribe Online, please provide me with the organization number, okay? If you've never used our Success portal to log a case or even to search for a question, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to go through and share my screen and show you how you can log a case, okay? One of the other quick things I wanted to cover really quickly was our corporate goals. And so I know that we don't share this with you, but I'm going to share this with you. One of the big focuses of 2018 for Scribe as a company is that we're all becoming integration experts. So that means we're all doing Scribe Online certification, we're all doing level 2, and we're all learning much more about the product than we've ever learned before, because we want to make sure that we're able to enable you as a partner and our customers as best as possible. So that's one of the big corporate goals. Success 60 is that we're looking to make our customers successful within 60 days. The point of that is that we want to be able to turn around in 60 days and see a happy customer once they're implemented. And then if we need to use them as a reference, we can use them and make them referenceable. Okay? And last but not least, one of the most important is say it, do it, measure it, improve it. And this is how we are going to constantly think. This is our mind frame, our life, our mantra for 2018, because we want to make sure that whatever we're doing, we're going to say it, we're going to do it, we're going to be able to measure it in statistic-wise, and then whatever we have as a statistic, we want to be able to improve that. Okay? And then for me, I would absolutely appreciate if you could send me a follow-up email, if I could send you a follow-up email that will have a survey link on there. If you can answer that survey, that would be wonderful. It's just going to take a minute for you to answer, and it's going to provide me with feedback, which is extremely valuable to at least let me know that I'm moving in the right direction and also where I can improve. So the Scribe User Conference. So every year and a half we have a Scribe User Conference, and this year it's going to be phenomenal. It's October 28th through October 30th. It will be held at the Hotel Marlowe in Boston, Mass. And this year we are doing it in a completely different fashion. We are actually going to cater this towards the roles of someone who is using integration, which means if you are a developer, we are going to have a developer role or developer course for you, developer type sessions that are going to apply to how you use the product. If you are a consultant, we're going to have a consultant role. If you're an admin and use the product, we're going to have an admin role. So These rules are going to be extremely refined in the agenda that we're going to have for you, and so you're going to learn a lot of information about the product, and we're really excited to present to you a lot of good stuff before then in terms of what we're releasing with the roadmap and such. So you can register now. You can save $200 before March 31st. After March 31st, it will be $11.95 for you to attend. So save that $200 and register now. I also have a template if you're a consultant or developer and you want to go. I have a template that literally just says why you should go, and then you can fill in your financial obligations in terms of flights and hotel and food and such and such. So let me know if you need that. I'm happy to send that to you, and you can get that approved, that expense approved for, by your boss. Okay. Our biannual certification. It is that time of year again. You should recertify for Scribe Online now through June 30th in order to receive a 1% rebate back on any bookings. Okay. This is our transactional bookings that we're talking about. You can save up to 5% with 5 consultants, 1% per consultant. So make sure you do that. If you are Scribe Insight certified, the Scribe Online certification is free. Send me an email. I will hook you up with that training, and I will hook you up with the certification test. Send me an email. Let me know that you're ready, and I'll go ahead and get that lined up in the back end for you, okay? And last but not least, our Scribe MVP program. We have not invited anyone new to our program, which we are revamping for you. So if you know anyone in your team or organization who has been using Scribe for a while, has done some really great things with it, is looking to really become part of the Scribe world, send me an email with their name. If it's you and you want to become an MVP, let me know. Send me an email. We're excited to have you join into our MVP organization, okay? All right, so all that's behind us. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker, Todd Bailey. Todd, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Todd is, again, the guru for Scribe product, created this roadmap. This is his baby. So, again, I encourage you to email in any Q&A that you have, or questions that you have while we're reviewing this, so that you can have Todd, the person who thought about this whole entire plan, respond to you and chat to you in that type of manner, okay? All right. Todd, you there?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Jenaya?
Excellent. Yep, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect. So that was quite the intro. I appreciate the compliments there. It is exciting to kind of share with you our roadmap. And as Jenaya said, as I'm going through this, please enter in your questions as soon as they come to mind. We'll take some time. I'm hoping to take a lot of time at the end to go through your questions. I'd like to understand your questions and kind of go back and forth there, because I think this should be a two-way exchange of information as much as possible. So what we wanted to first start off with is give you an understanding of what our priorities are. Each year we go through our priorities from a product perspective, and this year is a little bit different than the previous years, where we just wanted to keep it very simple to really 3 different priorities that we're focused on that we think matter to our customers and also matter to us as well. The first one is competitive offerings. It's providing that yes you can answer to Scribe, the out-of-box functionality, as I like to talk about internally here. We'll talk about some of the connectivity offerings specifically that we're going to be offering, but really want to provide those competitive offerings that any problem could be solved with Scribe Online. I feel today that a lot of problems can be solved. I think more problems in 2018, and basically towards the end, there should be no problem that can't be solved with Scribe Online, and I'll explain how we're going to be doing that. Second is enrichment, really going deeper into a lot of the existing functions. I'm pretty proud about what we have to offer today. I think there's areas in which we could go deeper to make your lives easier, and that's what we're going to focus on. I'm a big proponent of NPS, Net Promoter Scores, and I look at that all the time. To see how customers are using the products, see what they're saying, and understand where their pain points are. So we're looking at that, and a lot of the things in the roadmap are dedicated to that enrichment, really, surfacing the good stuff that you want to see more of out of the system. And then the third priority that we're working on, and Jenaya kind of spoke a little bit about this, but it's in the embedded delivery, really going where the customers are. What we're looking at, we've released a product called Shadow recently to the Salesforce ecosystem, which allows you to set up replication. We're looking to do more of those apps, and we're having partners do that same sort of work as well. We've got one partner that is in the middle of launching an app that uses Scribe Online in the Oracle Marketplace. Pretty cool stuff. We've got another one that's working in other marketplaces. So we're starting to see our partners do that, and then we're going to be doing the same sort of enabling and embedding that delivery right into other people's applications. So we're pretty excited about this. I think this opens up territories where you can leverage the platform in just different ways. So I'm actually excited to, hopefully Jenaya will let me sit in on the next partner meeting so I can see what she's got in store for March 15th. It was March 15th, right, Jenaya?
March 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so that's it for the priorities. The other thing we started doing is we started looking at all of our products and, on the online side, and we started segmenting them into kind of containers that really make logical sense to us as we start to, look, take a step back. So this is the wide-angle view of, how we're looking at things and how the roadmap was organized. So really, we've got connectors, which are to applications or for technology for generic connectivity. For example, text message, or not text message, but the text connector. Then we've got the platform, which is pretty much core to everything. Everything needs the platform, but by itself, it's not really functional. It's it gives you agents, it gives you an API, and it gives you an SDK that you can develop connectors, but by itself, it really doesn't give you benefits. And then you've got the applications that sit on top of it. So we've got Scribe Online. I talked a little bit about Shadow. And then we've got other applications that we've released or are going to release called Microsoft Works and Salesforce Works that are also kind of utilizing the API. So really the center of this is the platform. So we've got a certain set of features that we're going to do on the platform which will support the application and also third party. And then we've got new features on the platform that are going to support connectors, for example, enabling a new pattern of integration that we're going to be introducing this year. So just wanted to kind of give you this idea of kind of how we're segmenting things and reorganizing and looking at the roadmap in a different way. So we're going to start with connectivity because I think that is foremost on everybody's mind when they think of Scribe Online. At least it's one of the questions I get asked the most. The first is we've done a partnership, or we've entered into a partnership with a company called CData. You can look them up online. And what they do is they provide technology drivers for anybody to use and embed into their own technology. So we partnered with them, and what we're doing is wrapping our connectors and going to be deploying those out to the marketplace very quickly. Because we're not developing the core technology, we're just using what they provide, which is just native connectivity to APIs. It should go pretty fast. We're actually looking to accomplish or get into the marketplace 9 a quarter is what we're committing to, and possibly even more as time goes on. So one of the ones that we're working on as we speak right now is Postgres, Google Analytics, NetSuite, and the list goes on. We've got actually a listing for you after the slide to kind of give you an idea of what's in our queue, and you're going to drive some of this with us as far as requests and priorities.
Exactly. And Todd, just to throw this in there, so any of the CData connectors for Scribe Online, those will be based on our standard pricing tier, which is up to 5 connections. So just so you guys know for the future.
Cool. So we're pretty excited about it. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot through it, but it's a great partnership. We're pretty excited. They're a good company to work with, quick turnaround, and they really understand that technology layer, and we've got the great design layer with Scribe Online, so it's a good win-win situation. The next one up is, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask. Can you just kind of quickly touch about some of the support that they'll get with the CData connectors? Because it's not developed directly by Scribe, but will we have support from directly to CData, or how will that work?
No, no, that's a good question. So we would handle all first level support, and then there would be a warm handoff. If the case, is certainly a C data, we're going to be involved in there to make sure that the Scribe customer is taken care of. But we are relying on them. We're actually not hiding the fact that we're using C data as a technology provider. We're actually using their documentation, but we will be involved. Does that answer your question?
Thanks. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Good question. So the next one I'm pretty excited about is a REST connector, and we've been requested this for as long as I've been at Scribe, generic kind of REST connectivity. We're starting off with one that is going to support what is called OES compliant specifications, which is Open API, which is a fancy word for the Swagger 2.0. So any API that currently supports that, which number do, we'll be able to actually set up a connector fairly easily and actually expose all of those entities within the map and be able to utilize them. So we're looking to have this released probably in the next 5-6 weeks. Actually, it's pretty quick. Pretty excited. This is phase one of many that we're going to do on REST. It is the new standard as far as how systems are communicating back and forth. So this is a long time coming, and I'm sure you're going to see some great things in the future on this as well. And then the last one that we're going to be focusing, at least in the next 6 months, is queuing. And for those that are familiar with our Insight product, you know that MSMQ was pretty prevalent there. We know it's an important technology that you need to integrate with. So we're going to come up with a queuing connector. First would be MSMQ with probably XML, and then go on to JSM with JSON. So you, of course, I'd love to hear your feedback and to see, which your preference is on that, what you'd like to see first. But this directly links into some platform features that we're working on that will actually make this even better than what is currently offered over on the Insight side. So that's it on the connectivity. I know it seems like there's only 3, but really the C data counts for 9, and I think we've got the list here. There we go. So we're looking to do 9 a quarter. And we've got the TBD for the Q3 and Q4. You're a part of figuring out what that TBD is, so we'd love to get the feedback to Jenaya to let us know what you're looking for. What are you getting requested for?
Yeah, anything that you guys see or you're experiencing in your marketplace or with your customers, please, again, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Send me an email. Give me a call. Let's talk about this. I'm happy to put anything that you guys are looking for into our Q3, Q4 connector development from CData. So send me an email. Let's communicate. Let's talk. Let's really bulk this up based on what you guys are seeing out there in the marketplace.
Now, I know one question I get, Jenaya, is, people see this list and they see NetSuite, and you're like, well, Scribe, don't you have a NetSuite connector? We do. That's a good observation. We're actually going to keep both of those connectors out there, so we will do the CData version of NetSuite, and we're going to keep ours out there. And we'll determine if, people like theirs better, we might remove ours, or if, it's more of a case that people like ours and we need to invest in it, we'll make that decision. But we wanted to give the offer. Their NetSuite connector covers every entity that is known to man. Kind of the difference between us and them is that they're going to go very broad as far as the coverage of all of the entities and all of the functionality, where we tend to go very deep. So that would be the difference. But it might come down to the fact that people like the NetSuite. It does enough that we just might remove ours. So that was one question I've been getting.
Yes, that's true. I've also been getting that. Thank you for addressing that.
Yeah, no problem. All right, we're going to move on to the application. So really talking about the front end of the product. One thing that we've been talking about for a while is whitelisting, the ability for partners to put their own logo on the login screen of Scribe Online, to kind of brand it for their own, and also their logo on the dashboard itself in the upper left-hand corner, and then the notification emails that we send out to have those branded, by the partner. The idea is to represent yourselves to your customers, that this is your product and really becomes powered by Scribe Online. Functionality. So we see this is important. We've had it under our backlog for quite a while. We do want to offer it. I'd be curious to how many of the partners on this call are looking to take advantage of that functionality. So when you get to the Q&A, be looking for that feedback. Next one on the list is what we call our Metadata Explorer. So Scribe Online is a very rich system as far as its use of metadata in mapping integrations and completing and helping you complete those maps. With the Metadata Explorer, what we're trying to do, oops, looks like we just flipped slides here. What we're trying to do is go over to the connections and actually expose those out so that you can actually see the connections that are available, and you'll be able to dig down into the entities, see the field mappings, and be able to explore, the details around those fields, and be able to, modify the fields, modify the details behind those entities. For example, let's just say the metadata was incorrect for a certain field. You'd actually be able to update it and override that metadata. You'd also be able to set permissions so that certain people could view, certain fields. For example, social insurance number maybe is not something in which you want people to be able to preview the data for. You'd be able to do governance within, or to assign governance within the Metadata Explorer so that people wouldn't be able to access that information. And then we're going to be looking at that modification going even a level further, where you can actually modify the end system, the target system. So you may be able to alter the metadata on CRM or on Salesforce, for example, or SQL. So a lot of exciting things on the Metadata Explorer, really kind of putting it as a first-class citizen so you can see, explore it before it's even in the map, to be able to see the associations. We're pretty excited about this feature and the potential it offers. Child record processing. So this one it's a pretty complicated feature, but what we want to do is give you advanced processing rules around child record processing. Today, that you're able to assign, if there's an error encountered, what to do. We want to go one step beyond that and really, provide you optimal abilities to handle pretty much any situation or any integration pattern where you're doing child processing. Those that have used Scribe Online, there is, you can catch some things, but this will give you one level beyond that of error catching, and then you'd see all of the details in execution history. So this is an advanced feature. We do a great job today, but this is just the next level beyond. So pretty exciting stuff here. Execution Explorer. So Execution Explorer really is a new take on execution history that we have today. Execution history gives you all of the stats or all of the information regarding your executions. What we want to do is turn it into an Explorer where you can actually delve into those executions. You can actually do groupings, you can do filtering, you can do a lot of advanced features there on execution history or Execution Explorer to be able to get at the information quicker. I think it's a good feature today with execution history. It could be a lot better to surface this detail to you. Next one on the list is map reversion control. Another word for it is version control. We're actually looking at this as we speak, and this will be coming out probably in the next 5-6 weeks, as a matter of fact. And this is where we keep a version of every map as you change it. So as you save the map, we're actually going to catalog a version of that, behind the scenes, and actually capture comments regarding that version. And then you can look at the versions going back, for a certain period of time. So you can actually revert back to an old version if you wanted to. You can actually export what would an old version look like to a JSON file and take a look and do a diff on it. So a lot of abilities there. I'm pretty excited about how this has turned out. And again, you're going to see this probably in the next 5-6 weeks. Intelligent error control. So we've got a lot of information in the system regarding errors that happen, with different connectivity, different situations. What we want to do is start to surface that in an intelligent way. This is a part of a multi-part project, a multi-phase project, I should say. in which, first we're going to start getting the information and the details in our history, and then we're going to start surfacing that up to users in an intelligent way. If we were to start to group together error messages today, for a given execution, they probably wouldn't group very well because many of the error messages that we get back from third-party systems include key information. So if you try to group all of those together, it wouldn't group very well as far as combining those. But we're going to use some elements of AI, start dabbling in there to intelligently group the error messages together and present that in a more approachable manner. So. Next on the list is what we call single pane of glass. So this is what we're looking to do is for partners that have signed up for parent-child functionality is to present a more in-depth view of what's going on with your children, your child organizations, what are their statuses, and in a one-touch way, figure out what's going on with their solutions and be able to interact with them. So it's a single pane of glass in which you can see everything about your organizations and then quickly delve into a single organization to understand what's going on with their execution. So want to make it quicker and faster, again, to see what's going on in the last phases of integration lifecycle management where you end up spending a lot of your time. This will be especially useful for those MSP orgs, those managed service providers. They're providing that high-touch, high-service offering to be able to do proactive things on behalf of your customers. And if that wasn't enough, on the application side, we're going to be including access roles and adding a new role to the system. So today we have the user roles of user and admin. We're going to add a new role called read-only, in which you can invite a user in, assign them a read-only role, and it'll allow them to actually look at the maps, but they can't touch it. And they could actually manage execution history, but they wouldn't be able to export their maps. So it would put that governance that you want to put on your customers so they're not breaking things necessarily, but you want them to be able to react to issues and be able to solve things themselves. So they would have access to those tools, but wouldn't be able to modify the system. So pretty excited about that. All right. Platform side. So remember I started out at the beginning of the wide angle view that we've got 3 different segments that we're kind of working through. We talked about connectivity, went through the application. Now we're going to talk about the platform side. So a lot of the things that we're working on, both in our embed, I talked about that the shadow program, that piece of software that's going to be, or that application that's going to be over on Salesforce. In order to do that, we're going to have to introduce API keys for external systems to access our API directly. This will make it a lot easier instead of having to do the whitelist rule. So this will be available for anybody that wants to embed functionality of Scribe Online into another system. Next thing that we're going to be coming out with in the next 5-6 weeks is agent log access. So the ability to get at the customer's agent log that might exist on their on-prem system. If they have an on-prem, for example, SQL box that's not exposed and you install the agent, you'll be able to actually get the log file directly from the UI today. Right now you can get it through using the API, but this is going to be seamless within the UI. We're working towards SSO, which is single sign-on, working with an outside company to actually embed their software into ours. For that, we're using Auth0, if you've heard of them. Pretty exciting technology. Our first targets on this are to be federated with Microsoft and Salesforce ecosystem. So if you have a Microsoft or a Salesforce account, you'd be able to seamlessly be able to log into Scribe Online. They would actually take care of the authentication. You'd be able to seamlessly get into Scribe Online from that domain. We're going to be looking at adding this for other partners and for our other large customers that want to become federated with Scribe Online. So pretty exciting stuff. Not something in which we're going to reinvent. As I said, we're partnering, so this is going to come very quickly, but it really does bring Scribe to that next level. Approachable messaging. This is a mouthful. For those that use request reply or the message maps, you're probably aware that right now it currently doesn't support hierarchical data as far as the inputs. It does support it on the outputs. It's on request reply. We're looking to incorporate that. Hierarchical data was something that we added late last year. So this will allow basically for request reply to be able to accept any sort of a JSON payload and to be able to process that and give a response. We're going to do the same sort of thing with message maps, but we're going to bring that into the forefront where you can actually define message maps within the application. Now the difference between message maps and request reply is asynchronous processing. So you're sending us a request, we're responding right away, you design that within the map. Whereas message processing has been linked to a connector, and that is asynchronous processing where you send us a message and we simply respond back with a 200 and OK, and those go into a queue for processing. Again, that's been typically tied to a connector up to this point. When we do approachable messaging, you'll actually be able to create your own message map receivers to be able to handle that asynchronous processing. So we released out the fast messaging framework last year, I want to say, and that actually allows you to set up your own message map or message functionality. So this will actually just make it more approachable, but we'll put hierarchical data support into the fast messaging framework as well, so it'll make it a little bit deeper there. So pretty cool stuff. A lot of stuff on messaging. We're seeing that as far as what the direction of integration is going. We're getting requests for it. We've seen an explosion as far as messaging goes, so we want to invest in it. Leads into the final topic, which is not the smallest of them, but really it's the next integration platform. Oh, I'm sorry? Oh, I thought you had a question, Jenaya.
Nope.
You're being so quiet.
I'm taking it all in.
You're taking it all in. Great. Eventing. So eventing is really the next integration pattern that we needed to support, and we're looking to do this for a number of reasons, which I'll elaborate. But if you look at Scribe Online, we do a great job at polling. You can set up an integration job to query a data source every 5 minutes or every minute. That works out really good. We've got our request reply, and we've got message map functionality, so you can send us and trigger off an integration to fire off. But there's no way in which we can actually monitor something to see if something has happened and actually kick off the integration. A good example would be the message queuing that I talked about on our connectivity. So instead of us polling a message queue every 5 minutes, is there a message? Is there a message? In processing, what we want to do on message queuing is that we actually have the connector actively listening and triggering off the integration as soon as it sees a message in the queue. We want to do that with other connectors as well, but that's the one that comes to mind foremost. And it is the next integration pattern, if you think about it, that people support. So this is an important one to get right, and it will open up other possibilities, including streaming, which is one of the topics that you'll have to tune in for, but we're working on some streaming technology for the second half of the year that is pretty exciting. So eventing is the next generation, and it's pretty cool stuff.
Awesome.
All right, so that is kind of your teaser. That's the first really that's the next 6 months of what we're working on. Some of the things are going to come in really soon. As I mentioned, a couple of things are coming in the next 6 weeks, which is pretty fast. Others are kind of be laced in with layers as they come off the assembly line, as I like to say. This gives you kind of an idea. It goes back to that wide-angle view of how we're looking at things. Gives you an idea of other things that are on our roadmap. The Microsoft initiative, which includes some CDS things and some other things that we're still kind of wrapping our arms around. But there's a lot of stuff, exciting stuff in the 2018 roadmap. So I think we've got some questions, Jenaya. Do we?
Yes, we absolutely have some questions. Thank you so much, Todd.
No problem. No problem.
So, Todd, what's the best use case for the Metadata Explorer feature? And this typically would be for those who are in government or public sector, but also applies to all partners.
That's a good one. The way I saw it when I was looking at this feature, I was thinking to myself, what would be valuable for me as a partner? And I'm thinking as a customer's coming to me and they say they want to do a migration, they want to do some sort of an integration pattern, I would want to know how complex their system is before I even think about giving them an estimate. How many custom entities do they have? So one of the tools that we were thinking about is the Metadata Explorer. This allows you to actually put in information on their connection and then graphically give you a display of what their metadata looks like. And you'll be able to explore and see how complex it is. So that's one of the use cases that comes to mind on the Metadata Explorer. Another one I'm passionate about, I kind of spoke a little bit about, was the governance and the ability to lock down certain fields. So let's just say that in government, people want to lock down certain fields within the CRM system, to whatever it is. This gives the ability for them to do that, but allow people to actually create integrations.
Excellent.
That was a good question.
Thanks. So I have another question for you. Will we expand the capabilities of our white label to include email notification with a branded logo?
Yeah, actually, we'll include the branded logo, and maybe maybe I missed that, but we're going to do both the logo on the login page, so the first logo that you get to, the logo on the dashboard, and the logo that's included in the email notifications. We're not going to do the logo that's included with the agent. We'd like to get to that point. A lot of the people that are requesting this feature aren't using on-prem agents, so it didn't make sense to go to that level at this point, but if there's somebody that can make that argument and says, they're using a lot of on-prem agents and it makes sense to put the logo on, I'd love to talk to them.
Excellent. Next question, can you give more detail about the Google Analytics connector? Would I be able to set this up as a target and source?
Another good question. Wow. You guys are smart group of partners. So we're just literally talking about this. It just came out of QA, and this connector is a read-only in which it's only going to be able to query Google Analytics. So there's no target operations because what Google Analytics is doing is monitoring the websites, for activities, and we were looking at some interesting stats, but it's only a query-only type of connector, and it's pretty cool. Actually, I hadn't delved into Google Analytics for some time, so it's kind of neat to see some of our website stats up there.
Awesome. And then I actually have a question. So Todd, I have some new partners on the line, and they may not be super familiar with Scribe Online yet. What application features do you think they benefit most from as a new user to Scribe Online?
Trying to think. I mean, from a new user perspective, I think going through the tutorial is a good idea. We've got a great tutorial that will lead you through some of the best features, and we go through kind of a simulation. I think it's Granite Street Outfitters that gives you that. Mm-hmm. But IS maps are my favorite because you can do the most with them. Versus RS is just replication. So IS I tend to stick with. Although my interest is shifting over to request reply because request reply is eventing. So it's just kind of two different technologies as far as what I've focused on. But for new users, I mean it's kind of the basics is integration service maps, IS maps.
Excellent. So I do have another question from Rob. He's asking, will Scribe Online have the ability to commit repeating data together like you can in Insight?
So I think the question is doing multi-record updates, and I think that's, I've heard that before. At this point, we're not going to be doing that, but there's some patterns that we're going to be introducing, I think, that will help address that. There's some technical implications to how Scribe Online is architected that it makes it not a good idea as far as how we're recording the transaction. So if one of those fails, so it's not something in which we're going to get into, but we've got some good examples also in our community of other ways to handle it.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And if you have any questions on how to access that community, please don't hesitate to send me an email or give me a call. Okay, Todd. Another question for you. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, we've actually got some resources that we're going to be, and you might not even be aware of this, but we've got some resources that we're going to be making available for the people that are using Insight, kind of some helper articles on making the transition, kind of the equivalence, using one of our longtime Insight partners to actually kind of work through this, who has made the transition and has successfully implemented Scribe Online. So look for more of that information coming out of our community. And we're not trying to talk you into using Scribe Online. Insight's a great product. We're standing behind it. But Scribe Online is where most of our development efforts are going to be focused on, and we'd love to have you guys try it.
Excellent. So a couple of more questions. So will maps get to a point where the blocks can do more than just the insert, updates, lookups, etc.? For instance, a block to call another map or a block that allows an email to be sent?
Good questions. So the first one, a block that allows another map to be called, we call that maps calling maps internally, or global maps. And that's actually at the end of our roadmap for 2018, entering 2019 is where I think that's going to end up. But we've got a piece of functionality that's coming out that is kind of exciting. I'm going to have to kind of say it's a little bit of a surprise, but you'll read about it probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And you'll be able to do the same sort of functionality with using request reply maps and using a new connector that we're going to be releasing out. So look for some details on how you can do it sooner, but the actual feature is going to be probably towards the end of the year. The second part of this question is, how do I send an email? We actually have a Scribe Online connector. It's called the Scribe Labs connector. It's called the SMTP connector that you can install. Scribe Labs are free. They're kind of given as, no warranty, but they work. They're kind of basic. But this particular connector doesn't count against your connector counts. You can install it, you configure an email system, and then anytime this block is encountered, you just incorporate it into your maps, it'll send an email. So you've got that today.
Excellent. Great. Thanks so much, Todd. Another question for you. Any ability in the future to configure the emails generated by the errors?
Oh, the notification emails, yeah. We need to do more work in this area. I'd like to. It's one of my least favorite areas just because it tends to spam out, if you don't have your integration set up just right, or if there's any kind of a problem. It's I've actually suggested to people that they turn it off and they utilize the SMTP functionality I was just talking about to kind of incorporate your own alerting into your maps. So that's one idea there. It's an area we need to focus in on. I've got nothing specific planned in the roadmap to address it, but I know it's a pain point.
Okay. Thanks so much, Todd. Another question. Are we releasing any features that can be used for AI?
Yeah, so we're looking at connectivity to AI systems, and I think it'll get involved with the streaming as well that I kind of loosely referenced. I'm constantly looking at AI personally. I think it's pretty interesting stuff, and I think it's going to make a difference in our lives if it hasn't already, if you're using Amazon at home. So we're dabbling. I don't have anything specific besides the Execution Explorer or the Intelligent Error Handling. There we're looking to dip our toes in there, and I think you'll see more of that come into Scribe Online. It needs to get smarter to assist you more. So I think it's going to naturally transcend in, but those are the only two that I can think of that are specific to AI.
Great. Okay, another question. Any anticipated abilities for Scribe Online attribute mapping translation, similar to CSV lookup for the on-premise adapter?
CSV lookup for the on-premise adapter. Not sure I understand the question here. Attribute for...
Any anticipated abilities for Scribe? Sorry?
Yeah. I think they might be, I'm not sure about the specific user, it might be because they're using adapter, maybe it refers to...
on-premise agent, sorry. It was a typo.
Oh, okay.
Anticipated abilities for Scribe Online attribute mapping translation, similar to CSV lookup for the on-premise agent.
Oh, I see what you mean. And I think they're probably thinking for cloud.
Yep.
Yeah, we're actually looking to do a couple of things in this area. We've got a new connector that is going to be coming out that might provide some abilities. I guess my question would be, where is the CSV file going to be located? We're looking to do OneDrive for Business with an Excel connector, which would kind of give you that same sort of functionality. So that is coming out probably in the next 3 to 6 months, if not sooner. We already have an Excel connector that is in the marketplace today at Scribe Labs, but we actually want to productize that and bring it into the fold. And we know that Microsoft is making a big push for OneDrive, so that's going to be one of our targets for that release. So hopefully that's the question. If not, we can definitely get back to you.
So ideally, no CSV file, but have a place to store domain data translation from source to target.
I'm thinking this will probably come in with our metadata explorer, but why don't we maybe set up a call to talk more about this, because I'd like to understand more of just the use case around this.
Perfect. So Aaron, I'll connect with you after, and we'll set up a separate call, and we can have further investigate this use case. Thank you, Aaron. Any other questions, guys?
Wow, it's a pretty active group you've got there, Jenaya.
That's all right. These guys are good. Awesome. So just, okay. All right. If we have no more questions, I want to thank you all for attending. I hope this was good for you. Again, I will send out an email with a link. If you can just answer the few questions that are on there, let me know how this is beneficial for you and how we did. That would be great. And Todd, thank you so much for your time. I know your calendar is always crazy, so I appreciate that you have made the time to join us today.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. And I look forward to just meeting some of your partners at the user conference.
Yes, that'll be awesome. You guys, don't forget to buy your tickets now. Save $200 for the user conference, October 28th through the 30th this fall. It's going to be awesome. And you'll have access to every Scribe guru here. So we look forward to seeing you in our hometown of Boston. All right. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and have a great weekend. Thanks again, Todd.
Thanks.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.